This might piss some people off, but I just want to take a moment and say, thank goodness that so many of us are waking up to the fact that modern day feminism is a literal scam meant to disconnect and separate and isolate women from one another. And not only from one another, but from the natural ways of living. Like, this shit literally goes against nature. Modern day feminism says that women should be out in the workforce working 40-plus-hour weeks while their children stay at home with a caretaker, that they immediately get put in the school system from age 5 and stay until they're 18, if not older if they go to college. And that while women have 4 phases of their cycle that give them extremely different hormone levels and energy levels, that they should be doing the exact same routine every day, every week, and every month. I'm sorry, but fuck that. Like, I am down for the boss babe shit. I am building 2 businesses right now. I think women should be running their own empires if that's what they want. But it can be done the feminine way. Women are meant to be provided for so they can stay home and take care of their children and be the actual parent to their child. They're supposed to rest during their moon cycle. They're supposed to frolic around naked and connect to their bodies and connect to the earth and be the caretaker. They're not meant to be in hustle all the time. They're not meant to be in doing mode all the time. We're meant to be. And we're meant to be in community, surrounded by other women, letting them support our children as well. Being in community vibes is essential. And what does modern day feminism do? Separates us from that as well. Turns women against each other as competitors instead of allies, and makes us work until we're too tired to function, amongst so many other tragic things. So if you're still stuck in that modern day feminism trap, let me just tell you that you deserve to be rich, you deserve to be your own boss, you deserve to do all of the things a man does too, but there is a unique way that you're meant to do it that is separate on a physiological and biological level from how a man is supposed to do it. And learning to embrace that is learning to embrace your true nature.
Finally, it's good to see more women realizing the scam in modern feminism.
We've all seen that TikTok of the women crying because their student loan debt has reached $90,000 with a 17% interest rate. Let's talk about why this is about more than just debt. This isn't just about money, it's about choices. We told an entire generation of young women, don't get married yet, don't have kids, focus on your career first. So what's happened is women have traded their 20s for careers and degrees, thinking that it was empowerment. And now what's happened is women are drowning in debt, in rent, and anxiety, saying that they can't even think about starting a family because they can't afford it. And here's the irony. The homemaker that they laughed at from the 1950s, they had a paid off house by 30, kids by 25, and way more stability than today's independent boss babe. But hey, at least you got your degree in social justice. Totally worth $90,000 with a 17% interest rate, right? Feminism sold freedom, and what you actually got was debt and delayed families. Oh, and depression. Everybody has depression now. Follow for more coffee and controversy because the truth hits different with your morning brew.
Even worse, the majority of them have degrees that won't get them a job.
Okay, here is why more and more young women are rejecting feminism and just do not want to be associated with it at all. I think these younger generations have really, really good BS detectors. So on its face, feminism sounds great, right? Equality for all and girls supporting girls. That sounds so beautiful. But the second you kind of test that out, you very quickly find that it has just become a total facade. If I'm putting on makeup for my husband to come home from work, or if I'm cooking for him, they get upset. They don't like that. Whoever the head of PR is for feminism needs to be fired. They are doing a horrible job because almost all of their representatives who are outspoken, they just seem so miserable, so hateful, so bitter. It doesn't look fun at all. Nothing about that sounds appealing. I think that's why we're starting to see the trad wife stuff on TikTok, is because people are so sick of the other side, so done with the angry, man-hating, putting women down. Ugh, it's boring, it's old, we're done with it. You don't have to like me, you don't have to like other women on social media. You can call everybody names and be upset, but just don't pretend that you support other women because you don't. And a lot of people are seeing right through it.
The thing that pisses me most off about the whole concept of feminism is that people think that it is anti-men.
Yeah.
And it's actually, if you're for women's rights, then you're a feminist. You don't have to be a woman to be a feminist. In fact, we actually need more men to be feminists. Yeah. So maybe it's because it has the word feminine. People think oh, Like we don't want to touch that. Like I have a girlfriend who she was like, oh, I'm not a feminist, but, and I was like, sorry, whoa, stop talking about. I said, what did you just say? And she said, I'm not a feminist. I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, I'm not. I don't have hairy armpits. Like I was like, babe, like, do you understand? And I went on my Google and I was like, do you understand what feminism means? It means you are pro women's rights. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely pro women's rights. This is a woman who's a CEO of a business, like multi-million-dollar business. Oh, wow. She is like a beast, stunning, beautiful, really feminine, but an absolute animal. Like, and she's standing there going, I'm not a feminist, because in her kind of mind, she doesn't relate to like the way that is portrayed. And I was just like, wow, like we need to rebrand this concept.
Modern feminism has nothing to do with real feminism.
Want to know something wild? Women traded family for a 9-to-5 and then they called it liberation. Just think about it for a second. Our grandmothers prayed for husbands so that they could work hard, raise kids, and build a strong home. That was the dream. Security, love, and purpose. Then feminism came along. Told women that being a wife and being a mother is oppressive. So what did we do? We left the home to work for men that don't love us at companies that will replace us the second we get burnt out. That's not freedom, that is slavery in heels. Feminism convinced women that family is a cage and working for a corporate job is empowerment. Tell me this, why do so many women hit 30, are alone, exhausted, and wondering why they feel so empty? It's because you can't outsmart God's design. No promotion will ever replace a husband that loves you and children who adore you. So no, I'm not anti-woman, I'm pro-woman, and pro-woman enough to tell you the truth. Real freedom isn't in a cubicle or a nurse's station, it's in building a legacy. So go forth and multiply.
Then the government got double the tax money too.
I feel like a conversation a lot of people don't want to have and aren't ready to have yet is how misunderstood and misrepresented feminism is. Like, one, there's this whole trend on social media of my man better pay for this for me and pay for that for me and he better do this and that for me because it's girl power, princess treatment, feminism, whatever. It's not feminism, and it's actually not women empowerment. It's misogyny repackaged into a pink sparkly bow because you are perpetuating the idea that a woman must be dependent on a man for resources, for means of living. That being said, you are allowed to have preferences in a relationship. You're allowed to prefer a man who will pay for you, or you're allowed to prefer a man who's rich, but don't put it under this disguise of feminism and girl power because it's not. If you were a feminist, you would not believe that it's a man's role to provide for you. You would believe that you are supposed to provide for yourself and you can be independent as a woman. But again, don't get me wrong, I like when someone treats me out for dinner. I like when someone pays for me, but I won't expect it. I won't say that it's their obligation, it's their role. A lot of people are going to call me a pick-me or hate on me for saying this, but I go into all my dates expecting to pay for half the bill. Whether or not they decide to pay for the full thing is up to them, but I will not hold it against them if they want to split the bill. Another thing is feminism and how it's misrepresented through publications and social media. We'll get a very accomplished and empowered woman, we'll paint her face in makeup, put her in a flashy outfit, retouch her face, cinch her waist in on Photoshop, make her tits bigger, call her a girl boss, and the day is done. That's feminism for the day. The same thing that happened 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 60 years ago, etc. Except this time we're calling her a girl boss, and so it's feminism. No, we're again just supporting misogynistic systems under the idea of, oh, feminism. Here's an example. This is Michael Phelps. He's a legend in the Olympics. We all know who Michael Phelps is. And of course, his magazine covers are showing his merit, are showing his accomplishments. And we go to Simone Biles, and yes, we do have some of her in gymnastics, but then the first two that pop up are her in a dress, her in makeup. It supports this idea that a woman needs to be beautiful, needs to be all done up just to be taken seriously. But of course, she is allowed to feel beautiful. She's allowed to look beautiful. I'm not saying she isn't. But the fact that these are the first few images that come up when you search Simone Biles magazine cover compared to Michael Phelps magazine cover says a lot. Why can't we just celebrate her based off her merit without having to highlight her beauty and her femininity? She's an insane athlete and she needs to be recognized as such. It's all these ideas of my man better pay for me and also different things like that, like the magazine cover, that's causing people to have pushback on feminism because they think it's useless. And it's not. I think feminism is still very much needed in today's society. It's just so misunderstood and so misrepresented that people are starting to resent it because it's seen as abusing the power of oppression. People are seeing feminism as, oh yeah, we were oppressed back in the 1950s, so now you have to give me everything I want. That's not what feminism is. Okay, thank you, bye.
Real feminism benefits both gender and against gender roles. A real feminist wouldn't support gender roles and support the lifestyle that you have as long as you're not hurting anyone. It's not entitled women, which sums up feminism today.
I typed in feminism, and the first 4 videos that came up were anti-feminist, including...
Definitely go watch this video in its entirety, but the basic gist is this woman set up a social experiment to frame herself as a young man on social media with an interest in understanding feminism, not from a negative standpoint. However, the algorithm showed her all red pill and anti-feminist content in response. Also, have been a number of social experiments in the past and even investigative journalism into the type of content that men receive as soon as they sign up, which has been found to be incredibly misogynistic. The difference is she was framing it as wanting to understand feminism, not from any sort of negative place at all. In Australia, we've passed legislation, so it will be illegal to access social media under 16. I don't know where I stand on this currently. I need to educate myself more on this issue. However, things like this do point me in the direction of thinking that that is a positive thing. Everything is political. This isn't a fucking surprise. We already know who owns these big social media companies as well as who the major shareholders are. And these are the same people creating these algorithms. And we also know where these people sit politically because they are vocal about that. The original creator suggests that there should be laws governing these algorithms, which I 100% agree with. However, I do not know how that would work and how difficult that would be to put in place considering the political landscape in America at this time. Because these are international companies, obviously in Australia, I believe we have no say over any of this and we can only regulate users in Australia to these apps. Correct me if I'm wrong. The overarching issue is that more and more young, impressionable boys and girls are seeking to social media to find answers to questions instead of using search engines, for instance. And search engines also have algorithms, but those algorithms don't go to preferential content or content with an agenda. Those algorithms focus on the quality of the websites providing the content. As I said previously, search engines can absolutely get it wrong and websites can have inaccurate information on those websites. However, the algorithms do not intend to only show you one particular type of content. They try to show you the best answer to your question based on all the content on the internet in that area, if that makes sense. This could change because who the fuck knows at this point. Opposed to social media algorithms, which clearly show content based on different measures, such as what the woman did in her social experiment and the type of content she was receiving by typing in feminism. Should be a concern to everybody because the byproduct of misogyny being taught the norm is gender-based violence and more young girls and women losing their lives. According to experts, the leading way to reduce a young boy turning into a violent man is to have a proactive father figure at home and to have these conversations with your kids ongoingly and continue to educate them in this area. I don't know if there are any other solutions, but I'd love to open a dialogue about it, so please feel free to comment any suggestions.
Feminism dominating online spaces for a decade straight is exactly why the algorithm now swings the other way. People are finally calling out the damage broken families, divided genders, men told they're the problem, women told they don't need anyone, and now everyone is miserable.
Ladies, listen up. Feminism is not about equality anymore. It's about tearing down men and stripping women of their true power. The original idea of feminism was about giving women equal rights, the ability to vote, work, and have a voice. But somewhere along the way, it turned toxic. Modern feminism today tells women to hate men, reject families, and act like the very thing they claim to be fighting against. And here's the truth. Feminism didn't make women stronger. It made them miserable. It convinced women that being feminine is weak, that being nurturing, loving, and wanting a husband and kids somehow makes you less. That is not strength. That is pure confusion. Femininity is powerful. A feminine woman knows how to elevate her man, create peace in her home, and stand firm in her values without trying to be a man. Feminism breeds resentment. Femininity creates harmony, and that's the difference that nobody wants to admit. Ladies, you do not gain power by competing with the guys. You gain power by being fully feminine and letting men lead where they are meant to lead. Feminism destroyed that truth. Femininity restores it. And if that offends you, maybe that's the wake-up call that you need.
Once women accept a man's true nature, it's incredibly freeing, like this comment is saying, and it's on a video where I'm talking about men, most men, not all men, are inherently cruel, and women need to understand that. Once women understand that, you can then move accordingly. You can then, as a woman, decenter men and do it without any guilt. You can deconstruct all of that patriarchal conditioning that you have been fed from the moment you could walk, probably even before that. You can start living life completely for yourself, unapologetically, with no shame and no guilt, because most men are inherently cruel, and thus why would you live a life centered around the needs of someone who does not care about you? Understanding and really getting it down deep into your soul that most men are inherently cruel frees you from the obligation of, if you would just be nicer, if you would just smile more, if you would just try harder to meet his needs, because you understand that his needs are unmeetable. It's not because of something you're not doing or you're doing too much of. No matter what, there's always going to be this undercurrent of cruelty, this need that some men, not all men, have to always harm, hurt, and subjugate women. When you understand this, you completely take yourself out of their little cruel, sick game. You take yourself out of the cage and you fly free like a bird.
This idea that most men are inherently cruel is exactly why so many people are checking out of modern gender conversations. Men aren't born cruel, and painting half the population as defective only fuels bitterness, not healing. Thanks for watching Manhood. If you want access to exclusive episodes and want to support the channel, hit that join button and become a member. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if it hit home. Drop your stories and thoughts in the comments. We read everyone. See you tomorrow.